Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran and it looks like we finally got some PvP updates, some very much needed PvP updates depending on who you ask. And a lot of classes that are just doing absurd amount of damage in PvP or are doing way too well in very specific environments are getting quite a bit of a nerf. If you're a Druid, Mage, or Paladin, you'll actually see quite a bit of your player power depreciate with PvP with the Tuesday-Wednesday reset. And Blizzard might even tag on other updates to this, so this isn't a finalized list, but these are some of the things that they are planning on doing later in the week. So in today's video, we'll be taking a look at some of these updates and how will they impact certain classes and what is to be expected after these nerfs. Are we expecting to see certain classes disappear or certain specs do a lot less, or what are these changes even going to solve to begin with? So let's take a look at the full list right now in today's video. The first thing we have on our list is players now deal 20% less damage to Death Knight Hunter and Warlock pets. I've noticed myself that those pets really do not have a lot of survivability, and there's really no way of making them stronger unless you end up giving them some kind of weirder scaling or different scaling to the class, as most of the pets scale based on the class they're attached to. The ghoul scales off of the Death Knight, the pets like wolves as well as cats scale off of the hunter, and the demons, the variety of demons a warlock summon, also scale off of the warlock. So Blizzard making it so that those pets take 20% less damage will hopefully make them a little bit more survivable. I don't think it was really an issue of people focusing down pets. I think pets that are getting focused down in damage still are going to fall over. I just think the pets dying to just random bits of dot damage or something, that's really was what killing a lot of these pets. So that hopefully will help there. Also, if you felt like the healer DPS games were a little bit too long, especially when you had a healer on each team, 2v2 arenas, dampening will begin at 20% like it used to, when both teams have either a tank or a healer. So right now, if you're playing a healer DPS game versus a healer DPS, those games can go on for quite a while. But now with the dampening, it is going to be a little bit shorter and things are going to be a little bit more down to the damage that the healers put out as well as your usage of cooldowns. So certain healers that simply just don't lose on any mana whatsoever are not going to be under pressure. And those healers that don't have the healing are going to have to use other things in order to help their team succeed. It also is interesting how the tank aspect was added into this. So if you're seeing a protection paladin into this, you will start seeing tank paladins, which are basically healer paladins, start doing less healing because they're basically a healer for their team. And now let's get into some big ones. For druids, Convoke the Spirits no longer casts Full Moon and Feral Frenzy when engaged in combat with enemy players. Now, this is a pretty massive implementation for druids of balance affinity or balance spec, but not so much as for feral. For boomies, casting Full Moon, especially when you're not talented into Full Moon, was insane, as the ability can do half of your target's damage, or if you're hitting an under-gear player, all of their health worth of damage. Especially in RBGs, a lot of boomies were getting stacked because of the possibility of them granting a Full Moon on an enemy, deleting a player out of the game because you got lucky. So removing this ability out of that rotation for PvP only is still going to allow boomies to do quite ridiculous damage in dungeons and raids, where not a lot of people are really complaining. But in PvP, you'll have less chances of getting 2v1'd or 3v1'd by a balanced druid who simply got lucky with Convoke the Spirits. It does mean Convoke is probably going to throw out more Star Surges, since there's one less spell in its kind of cycle to throw out. So you're still going to take a lot of damage from Convoke, it just is not going to one-shot you for your full health. For feral druids, Feral Frenzy is kind of a good ability, but also not the same as Full Moon. The bleed it puts up and the damage it puts out is decent, the combo points it generates is kind of nice, but it's not really a ferocious bite. So this means more bites for ferals, which essentially can mean that more damage for ferals in a way. Feral Frenzy has a bit of a bleed, it's a little bit of a delayed damage mechanic. It is kind of good, but I think that's just going to mean more bites for cats. So cats actually might see themselves be a little stronger. But this is going to be interesting to see how many druids are actually going to drop their class now that they can just one-shot somebody with Convoke the Spirits and get lucky with Full Moons. Next update we have is with mages. Triune Ward Legendary now provides a 50% effective barrier, was 65 in PvP situations. So this is actually going to make the barrier itself 15% weaker. And not just one barrier, but three of them, because we've all noticed that mages are actually kind of tanky. Even doing the 5-5 1-in-1 duels, we noticed that a lot of the duels of mages actually became quite long duels, because mages can heal themselves for a lot. There's also conduits that work with the absorbs, where depending on how much absorbs your shields absorb, it also heals your health. So mages became quite tanky in this expansion. So a nerf to try and word I felt like was kind of expected. We also have a change to fire mages. Infernal Cascade conduit effectiveness reduced by 33 in PvP situations. Infernal Cascade reads, while combustion is active, your fire blast grants you 9% increased fire damage for 5 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. And this is the low end of the conduit too, so at a higher item level, it was doing quite a bit of extra damage during your combustion windows. I don't think this is enough to take fire mages out of the game completely, let alone mages out of PvP, but I do think it will hamper the damage output of a fire mage where they can't just solo players in literal one-shots, and is going to slow down the gameplay a little bit when a mage is involved. It might open up opportunities for frost mages and arcane mages to shine, but I don't think this will be enough to really curb the damage output and the ungodly potential that fire mages bring inside of arenas. Next, we have some Paladin nerfs. For Holy, Divine Favor Honor talent cooldown is increased to 30 seconds instead of 25, and now increases cast speed by 30% instead of 60. Divine Favor reads, your next Holy Light or Flash of Light is increased by 100% in value and casts 60% faster and able to be interrupted, where most of the paladins would combine that together with Holy Light, a heal that was much stronger but had a very long cast to it. So paladins would have a very quick heal that was uninterruptible. So having a longer CD for this ability means a lot less of those life-saving heals, but also reducing its cast speed by a ton allows more opportunities for casters to, let's say, dispel the buff of Divine Favor, allowing for that cast to be interruptible. Shamans in particular are going to be able to take major advantage of this in general, but also is going to overall reduce the power of that of a Holy Paladin in terms of the amount of healing they can do. Paladins right now don't really lose a lot of mana. They have a lot of self heals, a lot of group heals, a lot of group capability inside of PvP. So this is going to be one of the biggest toolkits getting hit hard. And the fact that they're not really affecting anything else part of the toolkit does allow certain few classes to be able to kind of counteract this. And you might even be able to use CC in order to prevent casts with Divine Favor on. So I do wonder how impactful this might be, because this is one of the biggest toolkits that Paladins have within PvP. So I wonder if hitting that alone will be enough to make Holy Paladins a little bit less strong against other healers in PvP. We also got a Retribution and a Protection change to Word of Glory. Healing has been reduced by 20% in PvP situations. This is quite huge because a lot of you guys have complained about Retribution Paladin self-heals, especially as part of the 5-5-1-1 duels, but also Protection Paladin self-heals and group heals, especially with Protection CC capabilities of the silences. Then you got the Horse that makes you immune to CC, you got a bubble that you can put on an ally, so that's quite a lot of things you already bring to the team. And Word of Glory being changed up is going to be interesting. Right now it feels like Retribution Paladins with Word of Glory, since it doesn't really cost any mana, all you have to do is sacrifice your Tempest Verdicts, just makes Word of Glory, especially together with a specific talent that makes Word of Glory heal for more the lower the ally's health is. Basically Restoration Shaman Mastery baked into a talent, more or less. It just made it so good and allowed basically a full lay on hands inside of arenas. So this is going to be interesting. I wonder how many Retribution Paladins will swap out from double DPS with a red that basically acted like a Holy to now actually having that Retribution run as Holy in order to supply some strong healing to their allies. But I still don't think it's going to stop Retribution Paladins in PvP, since they do deal quite a bit of damage, and it's just simply going to nerf down the healing, and I think they maybe have had too much healing for a little bit of time. But I don't think it's going to really change where Retribution Paladins are or make them that much worse in my opinion, but time will tell. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about all these updates? And I'll see all of you guys in another video.